Tonight, Port Augusta Council said to use the closure of the Great Western Bridge to push for a duplication of the main traffic crossing. And could a deal with Rex and Broken Hill Council bring cheaper flights to the Silver City?
This is Southern Cross News with Tim Hatfield.
Good evening. Port Augusta Council is using the closure of its old Great Western Bridge to push for a complete duplication of the main traffic bridge. That ambitious project will cost more than $200 million, but because it's part of the National Highway 1 network, the bill will go straight to Canberra.
With inconsistent costings and no promises of support, it's not likely Port Augusta Council will be able to apply for funding to repair the Great Western Bridge. A meeting last night turned the focus to using the old bridge as a bargaining chip to apply pressure for complete duplication of the Joy-Baluke Bridge,
which gives a full swinging pedestrian access bridge which gives the proper access east-west and, more importantly, the 4 lanes that is required.
Part of the National Highway 1 network, the $220 million job would be 80% funded by the Commonwealth and 20% funded by the state.
So I'll be pressuring and working with the state and federal government around that, and Ramsey's reacted very quickly and he's been working with the federal minister.
And while the reduced 25-kilometre speed limit is causing a major backlog of traffic at both ends, it could actually help keep the spotlight on the cause. Truckies from across Australia are already complaining.
By ensuring that is there, that also drags in not just people from Port Augusta but the national attention.
While duplication of the Joy-Baluke Bridge is the ideal long-term fix, there's no denying something has to be done now to protect pedestrians from this heavy traffic. Council is awaiting the results of the Transport Department safety audit, which could very well find this walkway non-compliant.
A pedestrian rail to me is a given. You can't expect people to walk across there without that. Every other bridge that's been built around South Australia, recent bridges, have that as a mandatory.
Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
And Sam Johnson has today also been on the state government's back as more questions are asked about the secret deal Alinta offered the government before it shut down. Last night, Southern Cross News reported it would have cost just $25 million to keep Alinta operating for an extra 2 years. And today rumours have emerged of a proposal to convert the coal-fired power station into a gas-fired one that was also knocked back. It could have saved taxpayers the $360 million they're now spending on a new gas plant. And as the opposition moved a no-confidence motion in Parliament today, Mayor Johnson says people are right to feel let down.
People are heavily disappointed, and particularly those that are directly impacted, employees and their families. They feel really kicked in the guts.
Flights between Broken Hill and Sydney could soon become cheaper thanks to a proposal between Council and Regional Express. Community fares of $200 for one-way direct flights could save locals hundreds, but Council says there is a catch.
When Rex announced last year it was hiking prices to cover losses for Broken Hill Sydney airfares, Council began discussions to solve the problem.
That price had gone to $500. So in terms of talking to Rex about sort of the methodology behind that, one of the solutions that we suggested might be that they would think about introducing a standby fare.
The plan, which was agreed on at Council's monthly meeting last night, would see Rex sell any unsold seats within 24 hours of departure for $199 each way. The deal is only for the Broken Hill Sydney direct route on weekdays. In exchange, Council will waive the head tax on any seats sold that way.
It's a great outcome for Broken Hill, and Rex have been prepared to come to the party, and I think now it's up to us as a community to make it work.
There is a risk bookings for flights might drop as locals hold out for cheaper tickets, but support for the plan hasn't wavered.
On the Rex figures that they've given us, they've got 12 permanent seats on average that they fill each day, which leaves about 20 seats unfilled. So, yeah, there is an opportunity if people want to roll the dice that they might be able to get a cheap flight if they book 24 hours beforehand.
Council will now inform Rex the proposal has been agreed upon. From there, it could only be a month before locals could see the $200 fares enacted. Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
A man's been caught red-handed after reportedly stealing a TV from a Port Pirie school overnight. Police responded to an alarm at the Port Pirie West Primary School and on arrival found a man struggling down the street with a rather large flat screen. The 70-inch TV has been returned to the school and the 36-year-old was arrested for trespass and theft. A Whyalla resident has raised concerns about the Defence Department's maintenance of the Kultana Army Base after parts of the fence were found in disrepair. She says the area near the base is popular with drivers and they're worried somebody could get into trouble or could get hurt.
When Danielle Babbage went for a night drive out bush last week, she saw a car driving along near the Kultana Army Base.
When we saw a car drive, I'm assuming he was driving along this road here, and he ended way up over there.
Returning during the day 2 days later, she discovered the car had gone onto defence land through a fence that was broken. Pictures taken show a number of bent posts, along with coils of wire dumped along the ground.
Oh, my first reaction was shocked, because I'd think the army would be taking better care of it.
Ms Babbage says she tried to get in contact with the Defence Department to report it, but says they seem uninterested in her complaint.
They put us on to somebody else and it just came to an answering machine and it never heard back.
Kultana recently hosted an army exercise and is set to host more this year. The area next to the fence is home to Wild Dog Hill and is popular with off-road drivers. Ms Babbage says while the locals know the area, she's worried tourists may be put in danger.
They could drive completely into the army land and they're not going to know it's army land because this fence is down, signs are gone, so it's night time. They're not going to see these signs.
The Defence Department did not respond to us by deadline. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
One of the teenagers arrested for allegedly killing emu chicks in the Port Lincoln National Park has had his court date rescheduled to a later date. The 18-year-old, along with 2 other teenage boys, are accused of deliberately killing 8 baby emus. The 2 younger accused will appear in the Port Lincoln Youth Court in May. The 3 have also been charged with cultivating a commercial quantity of marijuana. Well, stay with us to come in tonight's local news. Port Pirie's tennis courts get a funding boost to bring them back to an international standard. The details ahead. Welcome back. A Whyalla man has been reported for driving while disqualified after being stopped last night. Just after 8 p.m, police stopped a Holden Commodore at the Westland Shopping Centre after they spotted the exhaust pipe was dragging along the road. Licence checks revealed the man didn't have a South Australian licence and had been disqualified in New South Wales last year. The man was reported for driving with a disqualified licence and had the car impounded for a month. The Teagle Auto Sprint is only weeks away and the excitement of Port Lincoln's first motor race is drawing near. To prepare, emergency services from across the region have met to make sure the event is as safe as it is fun.
Ready, set, go. The Teagle Auto Sprint has been given the green light by emergency services to make sure Port Lincoln's first street race is a safe one.
One of the main reasons for the meeting today is to look at all the safety sides, and we just want people to come, have fun. We want the competitors to come, enjoy the event, and everyone go home exactly the way they come, all safe.
Engines will be revving to the limit and fans will be lapping up the high-octane experience, and the South Australian Police will be out in force to make sure the event stays on track.
We recognise that Easter people want to have a good time. We think it's a fantastic place to meet. Port Lincoln's a lovely place, but we need to ensure that people have a good time, and by doing that they have to be safe.
Emergency services from around the region mapped out their roles over the Easter weekend, making sure the sprint gets off to a good start.
We've had the ambulance, the fire brigade and the police, the event organisers. Our primary focus is safety.
Residents can expect some road closures from the race. Locals are being urged to avoid Tasman Terrace in the days leading up to the event.
There will be in a couple of days beforehand, from Thursday onwards and up until the Monday afterwards. There'll definitely be road closures and so some inconvenience.
But that's just a small price to pay for an event estimated to pump $1 million into the local economy. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
A service helping people with mental health issues in Port Augusta has received some good news. The Our House not-for-profit has had its rent slashed in half, meaning there's more money for those in need.
Our House is a place where more than 30 people with mental illness come during the week to spend time with each other.
It's a drop-in centre for people that find life a little bit hard. So this way they get to talk to people that are similar to themselves and find they might make new friends.
Miss Watts has been involved in Our House for 17 years, but a recent spate of break-ins saw her spark dwindle.
September last year was the last break-in, and that sort of broke my heart as well as the members that come here. And I put a little plea out on Facebook. I was ever so upset.
The community donated thousands of dollars to get Our House back on its feet, and recently, more good news. SA Housing agreed to half the amount of rent Our House pays, saving Miss Watts $6,000 a year.
It means not as much fundraising. It takes a load off of our finances, because we're not for profit, as you know. We've still got to come up with the rent every week.
It's given Miss Watts a whole new passion for Our House. She now wants to expand the programs offered to include more computing and cooking classes.
I just want to thank the people of Port Augusta, and our last garage sale was just awesome, and it takes the courage of all the members to just keep going, and it's just wonderful.
Lauren Rose, Southern Cross News.
Port Pirie's Tennis International Tournament is on track again to return to the city thanks to funding which will upgrade the damaged courts. Port Pirie Council contributed $40,000 towards the $135,000 project.
It's a great relief for tennis fans and the Port Pirie community. The International Tennis Tournament will return next year thanks to funding to upgrade the tennis surfaces.
The tournament in Port Pirie has a long history. It's been very well supported by the local community, but it puts a lot back into the local community as well. 10
courts will be brought up to international standards thanks to funding from the Council, Tennis SA and the Office of Sport and Rec. For the council, it was a no-brainer to support the tennis club. The
decision of the council was certainly unanimous to go ahead. There was some concerns about some of the financial elements of how the Tennis Association is run.
Those concerns have since been cleared up though. The Tennis Association is adamant management restructures have given them a better financial understanding. They're also thankful for the council's support.
I think it's vitally important that we keep those contacts going because if you're not there and you're not represented, there are other cities across Australia who are very keen to take on tournaments like the one we have in Port Pirie.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
Well, stay with us. When we return after the break, a Broken Hill policeman's epic walk to help those with PTSD. For details ahead. Welcome back. A Broken Hill police officer is preparing for another epic trek to raise awareness of post-traumatic stress. Senior Constable Stuart Churchill will journey from Wilcannia to Broken Hill in the coming months, and he's been training hard for the adventure.
Last year, Stuart Churchill covered 100 kilometres as he walked from Menindee to Broken Hill. This year, he's taking it up a notch.
Last year I walked from Menindee to Broken Hill. That was over 4 days. This year the walk's over 7 days. It was a great success last year, so we've decided to expand it this year.
Stuart's journey will double in length, and he's been hitting the gym to prepare for the long walk ahead. He is certainly not missing leg day.
It's all to raise awareness of post-traumatic stress and suicide prevention and depression. I've got great support here at Impact Gym with Greg and the team. Impact Church is my church that I attend, and they've been a great support too and very encouraging.
He's encouraging his colleagues to take part and putting the offer to anyone else wishing to join the cause along the way.
I've got a couple of colleagues from Wilcannia that are going to join me on the first day and probably punch out hopefully the full day with me.
The walk is being done with great support from local businesses, Murray Mar Health and the Black Dog Institute.
If people would like to join the walk, they can contact me at the police station or they can contact Murray Mar Health.
Stuart sets off from Wilcannia on May 15. Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
The Meals on Wheels service in Port Pirie is desperate for volunteers. This week, local member Jeff Brock volunteered with the group and is encouraging the rest of the community to follow suit.
Freshly made meals served packed and ready for delivery.
On an average, we would put out 80 meals a day.
Every morning at 6 a.m, the volunteers walk through the doors ready to prepare meals for those who can't do so themselves.
We look after anyone that requires a meal, can't cook or has a problem with getting a meal.
Helping out with the preparations this week was local member Jeff Brock.
These are very, very nutritious meals. They're very wholesome. They're always hot when they get there. They've got the soup, the main course, and sweets.
For a small cost, those in need can get meals delivered straight to their door. But with dwindling volunteer numbers, the group is calling for those in the community to lend a hand. Even one shift a week would help the Meals on Wheels team.
They're very vital to the company. Without them, we don't operate.
But one of the things that is a challenging part about it is that the volunteer numbers are falling down.
90% of the Meals on Wheels customers are elderly, and for some, the visit is more than just a food delivery.
In the rounds that I've done previously, people want to talk. They may not see somebody for 2 or 3 days.
Keziah Sullivan, Southern Cross News.
A Broken Hill Zumba instructor was left speechless after 100 fitness junkies attended her session last night. Cindy Knott was hoping for 60 people to come out for the launch of new Zumba tracks, but was stunned with the incredible turnout. She said it was good to see a whole mix of people getting involved in the fitness craze.
And it's inclusive. There's like all different shapes, sizes, ages, as you could see from tonight. So anyone can do Zumba. It's not just for fitness people, it's for any people.
Well, time to see what's biting out on the golf. Here's a check of this week's fishing tips.
Welcome another week around the golf fishing tips from Port Pirie. I cannot believe where we're at. We're on a pinnacle at the moment of the changeover in season. This cold morning that we received this morning as we got up is going to be a good sign for our squid to come and our King George whiting. So while you've got it, remember we've still got yellowfin whiting up until the Easter break, so make your most of it. The crabs are starting to slow, but gear yourself up for King George whiting and squid. The first week in April, you'll see the first one of them around the old cross stick, and then if you try the creeks, get in close and you'll see those King George coming, particularly if you have another few cold days.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, bog stock standard sort of tips for this time of year, although the weather's starting to play its part. I've had plenty of rain, but now that coolness is starting to kick in as well. So basically squid down along the shacks, they're starting to come in better numbers. You'll find them in better numbers than bigger squid out towards the middle banks. Then the snapper's starting to show up a little bit further up the Gulf. Crabs are still there, but try a little bit deeper, and silver whiting out in those middle banks on the low tide.
Hi, for Whalers fishing report this week. There's been a few silver whiting coming in along the foreshore, also a few nice sized mullet, a lot of small ones down there, so watch your sizes on those. The boys have been going out raking along the foreshore, so they're getting some good numbers of crabs, especially on the warmer days. Out on the boat, there is absolutely plenty of crabs running. Best areas are down towards Mount Young. Also in the same area, the squid is starting to turn up in a few numbers, so get amongst them while they're starting to come in. Also, there's been lots of garfish around the town. Most areas from Whyalla, both north and south, so get amongst those garfish. There's some really good sized fish.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start locally, and there's still been a few crabs in the bay. There has been some squid around the place, and there's also been some salmon up to around about 1 kilo within the bay. There's been a few pan-sized snapper up to about 50 centimetres caught locally, so if you know a few spots, it's worthwhile having a go. Moving over to Coffin Bay, the whiting have been okay out at Farm Beach, but a lot of small fish. There have been a few tommies through that area and a few snook as well. In the Coffin Bay National Park, there's been some salmon at Almonte. There's been a few schools there. Those fish are around about the 1 to 2 kilo mark. Well, that's all for this week. Good fishing, and we'll see you next week.
Well, stay with us. After the break, we'll have a look at the Friday forecast and the weekend weather. Welcome back. Turning to the weather now. Still some showers around today. 21 in Whyalla and 20 in Port Lincoln. Port Pirie also 21, a fine 22 in Port Augusta and in Broken Hill. On the national satellite image, scattered clouds continue to bring the odd shower to some centres. Out on the waters, the winds to 10 knots and southeasterly, seas to a metre and also southerly. Sunrise around 7:30. So fine and sunny tomorrow in Port Augusta, 22 degrees at the top, 23 for Port Pirie. Whyalla with some lingering showers and 20, and a cloudy 20 in Port Lincoln, a fine 21 in Broken Hill. Then this weekend, showers for Port Lincoln, 20 to 23, similar for Cleve but looking cooler, fine though for Woodner. Whyalla fine this weekend, 22 both days with 23 in Port Augusta, showers and 24 on Saturday in Kadina, then 23 on Sunday. Port Pirie looking at 24, then at 26 for the weekend, 20 in Clare, Broken Hill sunny and at 22 both days. And that is the local news for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow night from 6:30. I'm Tim Hatfield from the Southern Cross News team. Have a good evening. Good night.